Who has a security system at home? Camera system at home? Business, security of business. Cameras of business. Access control. That business. So that's a Security Alarm Corporation, right? 1979, Calvin Nagy founded the company down in Port Charlotte. His grandson, Justin Albright, now owns the company and runs it. It is a family business. We have about 50 employees. I was retired about a year and a half ago. They found me and I came out of retirement. And the short version of why I think it truly is a great company from an employee and a customer standpoint is one of the questions I asked them was simply, tell me about some of your tenured employees. And he said, we have 5 techs that have been with us for more than 25 years. And I just stopped and I said, so whatever you want me to do for y'all, I'm in. So I can't wait to go work every day. It's a fun company to work for. On the back end of security is monitoring. You hear all kinds of things in the monitoring world, keep it short. We own the monitoring station. We are a UL listed monitoring station. We're built into our little wind bunker down there. Our monitoring building's been tested for winds up to 280 miles an hour. So for 35 years, when power goes out, we're never down. Valuable, a little bit of value in that. So currently, with changing times, the world has changed. Who knows if it's going to go back to normal or not? I'd love to know what they did after the pandemic in 1918. I'd love to see what 1920 looked like. What did we do? How did we feel? For 100 years, we've had kind of a normal life after something that took a lot more people off the planet than this has. So I'm as concerned about the virus as you all are. But what's the other side look like? It's going to be different for a while. Whatever that will mean for all of us. So right now we're getting some different sorts of inquiries. Our phone's ringing off the hook. Always about security, always about cameras, access control. But lately we're getting a lot of calls about thermal cameras. You're hearing about these. Has anybody read or seen about thermal cameras out there? They're being talked about in the news, by the Fortune 1000 companies. There are systems and cameras that are all over the board cost-wise. They get pretty expensive. Inexpensive isn't a word I would use in relation to any of them, but they're good. Banks, a lot of banks are calling us saying, what can we do? Yes, we can image your employees and customers coming in. As they come into the parking lot, it's going to read their body temperature. It's going to tell you a number of things as to whether this person is safe to enter the property or not. Good idea, probably. For how long? Don't know, but it's a good idea. Then you call your insurance agent and you say, by the way, my business has recently put thermal cameras in, so we'd have a lot more knowledge of people coming in. We have a lot more knowledge of the safe environment. We're hearing from insurance companies that they're able to offer some further reduced premiums and so forth. So very interesting. Any of these things, just please call me or email me after day. Text is always friendly. I'm very text friendly. Although I've got gray sideburns, I'm kind of friendly with technology. The good thing about these cameras, any kind of camera system really, if you want to make a change or an upgrade, we can almost always use the existing infrastructure, right? Meaning we don't have to pull new wires. Not a whole lot of complication there, but a lot of expense. If any company comes in and you say, I want to upgrade my cameras, it's been 10 years, and it's just simply old, and it has to be replaced because technology has passed you by. Have us come and take a look first, see what kind of infrastructure you have, and then we can match up the devices with what exists, and it doesn't degrade your clarity or your reporting, any of that. We run into that a whole lot, so I have to do that. Access control. We get calls from a lot of the law offices, small law offices these days. We just did a job for Jodat recently, where most of their offices are small, as you all might know. Zero access control. There might be a door somewhere in the back leading to the senior partner's office that has a little mag lock or some kind of strike plate access control. But being called in by a lot of law firms to say, can you protect our front door from the parking lot? Many businesses get nervous about the news they're watching, depending what city they're in. Who's walking outside my front door? Is it a group of people? What are they up to? We want to keep a knob. Okay, that's fine. Keypad entries, whether it be proximity readers where you carry a key fob in your pocket. We're getting a lot of calls these days about that, and small systems. Many banks, in the private banking world primarily, that don't have their front doors secured. They might have their closing room secured or their officers. So it's been interesting who's been calling, and all this is recent, last couple of months. Phones are ringing off the hook. One hot topic in the world, and this will affect everybody that has a security system that is, I'll say, 3 years old or older. So you have landline systems. We know what that is. Everybody familiar with landlines versus cell communicator? Who has a landline system? Okay. Who has cell communicator? Who doesn't know? Most people may not know. So what's good, what's bad? Landlines are great. It's a hard line. Whenever you can wire two things together, most people feel like that's kind of a no breakdown system. Wire has to go bad, rat has to chew through it, or lightning has to strike to destroy that system. Yep, and all a bad guy has to do is know where those are and cut them. And bad guys always know where your phone lines are. So they're outside your house. They haven't breached your system yet. They cut your phone lines, your system doesn't work. Interesting. Cell communicators, they're hidden somewhere in the house. Anybody who has a modern security system, you probably have your boxes up in your master closet somewhere, maybe locked away near the ceiling in a utility room. What's good about those as well, most of your landline-based systems, and for personal and residence, right? Business that goes into fire alarm systems as well as security systems. And landline is usually checking in with the panel, whether it be your fire panel or your security, is checking in about every 24 hours to say, hey, are you still there? All right, what does that mean? It means that you have an old POTS line fire alarm system and checks in with the panel every 24 hours, and at 12:05 a.m. your building catches fire. Well, if it just checked in at midnight, the system, there's a chance it may not know that fire is going until 12:01 a.m. the next day. Cell communicators check in every 5 minutes. So your worst case scenario in a cell communicator system, whether it be security or fire, typically is checking in every 5 minutes. It knows whether or not something happened. In the case that the system malfunctioned, it triggers an alert to our modernization that says something happened, which means call the person on the call list in the security system. I call Mike and say, Mike, are you Mike? Yep. Where are you? I'm in California. Well, your place in Florida says something's going on. You probably know whether it's going on or not. You go, yeah, absolutely, send somebody out right away. And that'll all happen in about 30 or 45 seconds, right? Fire alarm system, something happens where the system stops communicating. 5 minutes later, first responders are dispatched. That's automatic. In the commercial world, fire alarm systems, when any kind of alert goes off, first responders are there. That's the law. So you're kind of covered. But in the old POTS line system, right? Plain old telephone system is what that stands for. Maybe 24 hours. Don't risk it. We can come out and look at it. Consulting on that stuff's always free. You can take a picture of your current panel if you ever choose to. Take a picture and text me a picture, of the panel itself. Pop the cover. There's a motherboard. Inside the cover, there's a model number in the schematic. Take pictures of this, send them to me, and say, hey, what do I have? What do you think? The other part of technology that's going to change is we're going from 3G network and we're heading down the path of 5G and LTE, which is everywhere in the country right now. There's 6G is actually being tested out right now in Charlotte and in Chicago. What that means is security systems that have 2G communicators, in most cases 3G communicators, by the end of next April, they're just going to stop working. You're going to wake up one day and they're no longer talking to anybody. We're trying to get way ahead of that curve and find out who has cell communicators that are old. Because right now, while the firmware that runs all these programs is still current, if we put a cell communicator in that matches the software and firmware in your system, April 2021 is going to come and go, no issues at all. May 1st comes, you may be calling us going, I got nothing. I got red lights going off, I have no idea what they are. There's only one answer. At that point, you have to say, we're going to come out and replace everything for you and upgrade it. Good news on that is it's getting cheaper. The whole wireless world, which was kind of a coin toss a couple of years ago, is my communicator on my dining room door that's 40 feet from my front door going to work occasionally? Wireless world, it would lose supervision, which means it's not talking to the panel. You get an alert. We get an alert. It's not a call for responders, but something's going on. Your system's an issue. Nowadays, in the last 6 months, we've had 2 manufacturers that are knocking it out of the park, and they're testing their contacts and devices from the wireless panel up to a mile away, and they're communicating. So I don't think any of us can ever run a mansion that's got a mile-long hallway, and they're phenomenal. The systems we're putting in now, wireless, no issues at all. And builders love us, because the builder who traditionally had to say, come in and pre-wire, and then come back when my, on the trim up, once the paint's done, the floors are in, come back and put the devices in. Great. Now they get their inspections, we close the loan. Now we have to come back a week later when the home buyer's there, put the cell communicator in, activate the system. Now, home buyer can go into the builder and say, I want the following package, the following devices. The builder calls us and says, hey, the closing's on the 23rd. We communicate with the buyer and we say, do you want us to come in the 23rd or 24th? We're going to come in, install the entire system, activate it right there, done. So no issues on scheduling with builders. Builders go through change orders all the time. Many builders ever have a change order where you got to reschedule subs and so forth. That's going to go away. In the next 5 years, that's going to be almost non-existent. And some of that's up to our builders. There are a lot of builders that say, no, I just want hardware. Okay, I get it. Been doing that for 20 years. And if you had a wireless experience 2 or 3 years ago, may not have been the greatest experience. Your buyer probably called you and said, that system you put in, you're a horrible builder. Well, that was our fault or the manufacturer's fault. That's always the builder's fault. What that leads to is the builder then calls us and says, we're not going to use you anymore. You guys are horrible. That's going to go away. That world's getting a lot better. Give you a couple sheets. One tells you a little bit of everything we offer. The other one was just some talking points there if you wanted to follow along. My brief background, I came out of college, played professional golf for a few years, got sick, had to stop doing that, a lot of things in life. All that's better now. But like I said, I've been retired a year and a half ago I owned a private banking company and owned real estate, built a couple small subdivisions, one in Virginia, one in Michigan. So I've gotten to wear a lot of shoes in and around what a lot of us do. I stay in my lane, you'll find very well. But hopefully I'll be a productive resource, not only for doing business together, but if anybody should ever need a qualified contact in an area you need resources, I'm always happy to, pop my Rolodex open any time. And I'll always say, if I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I'll tell you, nah, sorry, I can't do it. So hopefully I become a bit of a valued resource there. But it's been a good time. Like I say, this company, family-owned business, they care about you. I'm not going to tell you all about what we do. It's not very exciting. Crawling through attics, sweating through 2 or 3 shirts a day, and all this exciting stuff we do. But it's a diverse business. Our techs, they stay busy. Every day looks different for them. We're very clean, very professional about what we do. That's really probably about all you want to hear about security and fire alarm stuff. But any questions in general about this?
Yeah, it seems like, the evolution of this, obviously going to wireless, you hear a lot of, or see a lot of stories about some of the wireless technologies and being penetrated or being compromised, even some of the bigger brands, Ring and all that, having some issues with this or that, or even baby monitors, or not that that's what you do, but still a security component.
It can actually all be tied in.
How does what you do specifically with your service and how it runs to whatever platform you're doing make that different?
Yeah, so part of that is at some level products are products, low-level products that you can find at Home Depot, Costco, products that you'll get through a professional company like ours. Always deal with a licensed contractor, from buying the product to installing it to ensuring the monitoring. I say it like that because most companies don't do their own monitoring. If in this business, if you allow a third party to do your monitoring, they're UL listed, you're allowed to say, we're a UL listed monitoring company. Okay, but if you visit them, they're not going to take you to the back and go, let me show you our monitoring center. That's not how that happens. So encryption, all right? You have addressable systems nowadays. These wireless systems especially have gotten very advanced with their encryption, where each device, so in the old world, let's say 10 years ago, you put a security system in your house, you had 10 devices. You would essentially have one electric loop with 10 devices added, and you'd have one zone. We'd call that a zone. So, the panel is here in your laundry room, and your smoke detector's 50 feet away, and your smoke detector goes off down 3 hallways. The alarm would just say, alarm's going off, the zone's bad. Okay, what does that matter? Well, first responders are going to come. How do they enter? Where do they enter? What pathway do they enter? right? They go in the house, turns out, fires right in their face, right? If they knew that, they would have come in the back door, right? Been safer for everybody. Where that plays into your question is, nowadays you've got fully addressable encrypted systems, whereby those 10 devices, each one has a separate IP address. Talks to that specific keypad, right? Bad guy comes in. All these devices now have, they should have tamper resistant controllers in them, right? Bad guy comes in. Bad guy knows when he walks in, first thing he's probably gonna run into is keypad or smoke detector. So they come in swinging, usually going for the smoke detector, right? It knocks that thing out. Now he's gonna go after the keypad, and they're gonna try to either log in or they've already tried to hack it. Well, as soon as one device is affected, they all re-encrypt. Good luck to a hacker. I mean, there's government level hackers that test these systems. They virtually can't break in. It's an encryption level that falls right now right between banking and military. To kind of put that in perspective, that's fairly new. Last couple of years, the distance between devices has gotten phenomenal, and the encryption is pretty fascinating. And that's about as smart as I can get on the tech stuff. Our guys that do the programming in the back, it gets pretty great. And that goes for camera systems too. You know, every camera we put in, each one's encrypted. It's talking to the recording device. The recording device knows which camera. Bad guy comes along, swings at the bat that's over top of your front door. All the others just re-encrypted. Good luck. You know, good luck trying to shut them off or stop them talking to each other or calling first responders. So it's pretty interesting. I feel like I'm living in the world of Jetsons. I mean, every week goes by, there's some new device. I'm like, are you serious? Another thing about cell versus hardware. So you hear Z-Wave. Who's heard Z-Wave, right? Z-Wave technology, it's important. It's just simply the technology by which a panel talks to the devices. Yes, that's really in a wireless world. If you have a Z-Wave enabled communicator, which comes in all the panels that we install, we come in, we put in a 10 device system, and 6 months later you decide, well, I think I want thermostats near my garage and my hallway. We can come do that for you. You could also then confidently go to Home Depot or somewhere and get a quality one that has Z-Wave technology. The panel that's in your house, it's going to recognize it. It's going to ask you, is that what that is you just put on the wall? Yep. Would you like to call it something? Yep. Master bedroom thermostat. Great. Now the system knows. Now it's also on your monitoring, because as long as the keypad recognizes it, they'll understand your mind. The old world, if you have a landline, the old POT system, hardline, and it's not Z-Wave capable, you got to put there's got to be a special communicator and transceiver that you have to put in that keypad, or replace your keypad with a radio frequency keypad. It gets costly. A lot less expensive just to upgrade to a cell communicator, whether that mean, hey, time for a new system, or hey, David, come out and look, and we can usually look and say, yeah, there's room to put a cell communicator in or change one out. So there's a lot of options on it. But deal with a licensed company. Look, I jokingly call the Home Depot the ring and the Nest and all these. I call them the gateway drug to security system. I'm never going to talk somebody out of them. But I can tell you that half the people that buy those 6 months later, they call us saying, bought this Simply Safe thing 6 months ago. It didn't work and it didn't work. But I want security. Great, we can come out and help you out now. Yeah, we can do that. So I can tell somebody not to get those. I look at them as useful playthings. If you haven't had security, you haven't had cameras, hey, if you don't want to get a whole system, go ahead and get one. Check it out. See what it's like. See how things connect. It's probably going to make you a better consumer when the time comes you call us. You'll be a lot more knowledgeable consumer and not be sold something you don't need. So, security exciting stuff? No, not really. Not the most exciting thing in the world. But it's changing. The world has changed. And again, people are looking to secure and watch their stuff a lot more these days. Any other questions? Curiosities, comments? I know it's endless, right? You're going to go away going, God, I remember all these security questions I planned to ask you.
All right. Well.
Good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, John, and thanks you guys, Rebecca and John, for letting us do this as well. Appreciate it.